So here I am, that good kid, coming to college, and I wanted that college lifestyle. I had done everything everyone ever asked from me. I wanted to break away. I wanted to put my family, my high school life in the rear view and come to BC. I wanted to be that college guy, right? And I was. I had an experience so similar to yours, right? But I wasn't really nervous. I always thought I had this internal compass that was going to point me in the right direction no matter what, and I was steering the ship. But what I realized is when I got here, I was almost like a sailboat without a centerboard. As much as I turned that rudder, right, I was drifting. I was drifting into places in ways that I really didn't want to be. I felt like there were different sides of my personality that were competing. Here I was, this big athlete. I was starting in the wrestling team, taking my English classes that I loved. I loved writing papers. But I was also drinking a lot, right? And I was making that Friday and Saturday night more important than anything else in my life. And I realized that I felt invincible. There was a void, though. God wasn't really part of my life in any capacity whatsoever. I wasn't going to Mass. That was diminishing. My phone calls home were also stopping. I felt like I had everything under control. Hangovers and steak and cheese replaced, for me, family dinners and Sunday Mass. That's what my weekend life was like. It was about hanging out. It was friends. It was partying. I was focused so much on these little questions about what we were doing and where that we were going that I forgot about the big ones. That all changed my junior year. It was a Sunday morning. I got a knock on the door. I was living off campus. Rolled out of bed, grabbed a T-shirt off the pool table I left there the night before, stepped around cases of empty beers, and opened the door. It was the BCPD. Now, this was not my first rodeo with the Boston College Police Department by this point in my life. But there was something odd about this, right? Why would they be there at 8 in the morning on a Sunday morning? They were looking for me. And it wasn't about the party that we had the night before. My father had had a heart attack. This is before cell phones. Police department came to find me. I had to get to the hospital. I was lost in that moment, right? I wasn't sure what to go. I had no direction. I just knew I had to get to that hospital. I got there. My dad was already in the middle of a quadruple bypass surgery. I'm a junior in college. Wandering around the hospital, I found my way to the chapel. Got down on my knees and said a prayer. That had been the first time in a while that I had opened up a direct line of communication with God. And that scared me. It scared me because I realized in that second that my relationship and my faith was directly tied to wants and needs. What I wanted and what I needed. That was a big moment for me. Shouldn't there have been more? So thankfully the surgery went well. My dad was in the hospital for a while. He recovered. We watched the BC Virginia Tech game that following Thursday night. We had some ice cream. BC won, thank God. Right? And it was good. But I felt like I owed God something. I felt like I owed my father something. I felt like I owed myself something in that moment, right? There had to be more. I could be more. I could do more. Seeing my father in the recovery room made me think about my home, what I had learned in my home, and it brought some really important memories back. It made me think about playing pirates with my dad on the beach as a little kid, right? I was Jim from Treasure Island, and we'd play these games. It made me remember how when I was playing varsity football, my dad would stand the furthest away on the sidelines, away from all the crazy parents. I remember no matter where my wrestling match was, Wilkesboro, Pennsylvania, East Orange, New Jersey, Bangor, Maine, my dad would get in the car and drive there no matter what to watch me wrestle. I recalled how important it was that he said I learned to write and that I knew our family history, how important it was that I had morals, that I had integrity. I also realized in that moment, too, that it was from my father that I learned the importance of believing in God. I also recalled as I kneeled in that chapel at the hospital, I had this flashback to seeing my father kneel and pray in church on Sunday morning. And I took great strength from that. And I also, it's funny, I remembered this moment too that I loved even more, of how I always would sneak in Han Solo to Mass with me, like the little action figure, and play with him in the missal until I got caught. If my mother caught me, she would pinch me. If my dad caught me, he would smile and wink. And I realized in that moment that God actually was with me all the time, not just when I needed things, that he was walking with me all the time.